Alright, hey, how y'all doing? Hope you're doing well. Thought I'd do this video um, as a heads up, as a tips video about buying phones in a shop called CEX. We'll put the banner up. We'll put a couple of shots up about what the shops look like. And it's a warning, really, about the whole way they sell second-hand phones, and in particular second-hand iPhones, because this could cost you a lot of money if you get this wrong. And it's a bit unbelievable as to a company doing this, when I thought, up until lately, I thought CEX were quite reliable, but they've repeatedly done things that make you think it's just not worth the hassle shopping with them, and particularly about the iPhone. So I'll tell you the story. So I was looking for an iPhone for my father, and obviously he had an iPhone 10, but it was subject to the usual. He did it near enough 4 years. The battery health was going down, and it was just below 79%, so he wasn't really getting a full day out of it, and it wasn't really being or behaving itself either. So, well, the long and short of it was he managed to have his phone in his bag when his golf bag fell into a stream and got submerged in water. So that didn't help it. So we were looking for an iPhone 11 to sort of upgrade to, because we didn't want to spend too much money. And although there's newer phones out there, if you get a good condition iPhone 11, it'll serve you for another 3 or 4 years without any bother. So what are the key things you're going to be looking for when you're buying any second-hand iPhone? And I mean, the worrying thing for me was, you expect a store like CEX, who pride themselves on condition, and if you've ever traded an item into them, they'll condition. Very rarely do they give you an A grade, and very rarely you might well be a B grade, but if you've got a slight mark here or a slight little dink there, it's definitively going to be a C grade, or it's a weird way of doing it. So you're checking for a used iPhone, the screen and the actual housing and everything. You don't want too many bad marks. So what I usually do is drop down the shortcut center, hold my finger on the screen, check it's got True Tone. So that's an indication that the screen has been changed to a third-party screen if it's lost True Tone, or you've got an issue with the phone. Either way, I would suggest if it doesn't have True Tone, stay away from that iPhone. So that's your first one. Second one is go into the battery, click on battery health, and what you really want to see is, if an iPhone's been well used over a period of a year, 2 years, roughly speaking, it's going to drop battery percentage of about 12%. 6% each year, something in the region of that. But the parameters you want to be looking at the very, very worst, I would say 87% is about as low as you ever want to go. Bearing in mind that if an iPhone reaches 79% battery health, you get that warning message, the service message that comes up now with all the iOS updates, saying your battery health is impeded, time to change your battery. Now we all know that should be a relatively easy thing, but it's not, because you can't take it anywhere now. You've got to take it to an Apple certified tech, or Apple. Now you could be a minimum of £90 in the UK to change that with Apple, but you could actually be as high as £200 plus pounds to get a battery changed with Apple, depending on the make and model of the iPhone. But that is the only way you will get that battery changed, calibrated into the phone with the correct battery health percentage. And to be honest, it's the only way you'll know 100% that is a genuine Apple battery that's in that phone. So this leads us nicely to my concerns about CEX in general and how the heck they can think it's acceptable in this day and age, 2025, when everybody's struggling for money and their phones aren't cheap. They're selling, to give you an example, iPhone 11, 128 gig, reasonable, B grade, no box, a charge lead, 240 quid, 200 quid, 220 quid, upwards, right? So they ain't cheap. And you see them all, hundreds of phones, because people trade them in. They get very little for the trade-in, cash-wise, but I suppose it saves them on the hassle of trying to sell it to somebody knocking on your door that you don't know second-hand. So it's a bit like we buy any car, we buy any phone, CEX, So you're looking at all these phones, and not once on any label do they have the battery health percentage of that iPhone. Now, why is that an issue? Well, you need to ask them, I'm thinking about buying an iPhone 11. So they go in, they get it. They've master reset the phone. So when they set it up, they've got to swipe through everything and skip, takes forever. Only to open the phone. And like I say, first thing I say to them, check the True Tone, check the condition of the edges, the lightning port. Now, CEX have a master computer that they plug into, which checks every single sensor in the phone. So in theory, you should be assured to a degree that the phone sensors and everything are working right. You would assume. So we're checking these iPhones. First one, 73% battery health. 73% battery health. Second one, maybe that was just unlucky, ages later. 76% battery health. Next one, 79% battery health. 83% battery, I'm losing count here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 iPhone 11s later, we found one with 92% battery health. But, and this is where this story gets ridiculous. So, right, it's got 92% battery health. That's great. It's only dropped 8%. It's in reasonable condition. Screen looks good. All the rest of it. Right, we'll take it. So, went home, setting it up. Didn't get very far. I'm looking at it and I'm going, that's weird. And of course, because we'd had so many out, so I'm like swiping it down, touching it, no True Tone. Thought, that is odd. Why is there no True Tone? I checked them all. Well, obviously I must have missed that one. And I'm looking at the screen and I'm going, it does look like a good screen. And I wasn't, the colours weren't miles off. So I'm thinking, what's going on here? Then we're trying to set up Face ID and it's coming up no Face ID. Or it just wouldn't, like you're going like that, higher, lower, fucking locking, no True Tone. I'm like, no True Tone, £240 paid, no True Tone, no Face ID, that's locking in. What is going on with this phone? So I thought, what could be possibly wrong with this? So I went, I'm checking through the iOS. I thought, I wonder what version it is. So it says it's version 14.3 iOS. I'm thinking 14.3 iOS? We're up to like 18 point something iOS version. So I thought, right, I'll leave it charging. Maybe it's just because it's low. The low battery was like, it was needing charged. But as I'm charging it, it comes up iOS update available. So I thought, right, we'll download iOS 18.3. I think it was 18.3. So you can imagine it's downloading in the background. By this point, it's too late to take it back to CEX because we've missed the window. Well, we're at home. We're back home. You know, we've checked it. We've got the receipt. We've got everything. This is going to be a long video, but stick with it because there's some valid points here. For everyone out there, this is like, they do these things that are so frustrating as a customer and consumer. Why would you shop with this company? But anyway, you're gonna be shocked with this. So, right. So the next again day, and I've got 18.3 iOS downloaded. But again, checking this Face ID still not working. I'm like raging by this point. And True Tone, no True Tone. I'm like, what is going on with this phone? And it's 92% battery health. No error messages. No error messages whatsoever on this phone. Nothing. Nothing about battery, screen, nothing. So I'm thinking, right, I need to take this phone back. I've got the receipt. So I'll go back down CEX. So this is the first thing in the morning. Luckily I wasn't doing anything. And I'm like, I bought this phone yesterday. Here's a receipt. There's no True Tone on it, and Face ID isn't working. And like, you know, £240 for an iPhone 11, 128 gig. That's like excessive for the condition, and it's obviously not working right. I'm looking to what my options exchange. I thought, you know, you might even get like money back option, something like that. Bearing in mind, this is like less than 12 hours have gone by. We'll need to book it in for a warranty test. And in any case, before you book it in for a warranty test, you'll need to update the software. I says, what difference is updating the software going to make? It's not got True Tone and the Face ID isn't working. Yeah, but it's probably the software update. I'm like, this, really? I says, well, this would be the first ever iPhone that ever stopped working with Face ID or True Tone in the history that I've heard of, or due to not having a software update. Because Apple are very good at keeping things running, and rarely do they actually actually take stuff off a phone. I know a lot of people think Apple do that, but it's very rare. So I'm like, well, can you not just take this in and while you're doing the warranty test for this, because I said there, I downloaded the software 18.3, but I haven't updated it because I wanted you to see that I haven't done anything to this phone. I've had it less than 12 hours. I've brought it back to you because there's no Face ID, no True Tone. And, you know, why is it my responsibility now to upgrade this phone? I've bought it as a working phone. It's clearly not working. But no, they weren't for budging. So I'm like, luckily, I've downloaded the actual update in the house the night before, but haven't pressed install because you know how long it takes to actually download an Apple update. Also, you need to be on Wi-Fi, and if you're out and about. So I just think, Ken, what? I'm not going to lose the head. I've got the receipt. I'm just going to go next door to the coffee shop, sit there with a coffee, hit install, and wait till it installs. So that's what I did. I can't even say the coffee was quite good because it was like the worst Americano I have ever ordered in my life. It was like a bowl of mud. I mean, how Costa can hand you a cup of Americano and say, oh, enjoy. And honestly, you could have probably, I reckon, taken your cup of Americano, put it into another 3 cups, gently topped it up with hot water, and then just a drop of milk in each, and it would have been okay. Maybe. But anyway, the phone goes through all its updates. It's swipe, check it out. And I'm loath to put my Apple ID in because I know this phone isn't working, so why should I put my Apple ID in? I didn't. So keep that in mind. Skip through all the settings. You don't need to have your Apple ID. So I go through the setup process. I hold the screen. Swipe. Whoa! Well, I can't believe it. I have never heard of or seen this. True Tone is back. Well, I says to myself, that's a start. But I was a bit like, how was True Tone not there? Now True Tone is there. That is weird. But anyway, so I'm like, well, that's one problem fixed. Maybe she's right. Maybe I'm wrong. So I go into Apple ID, set up password and PIN. Skip that. Just want Apple ID. Unlock from Apple ID. Face ID. True Tone depth camera fault. Right? And one error message. And then I swipe back to the main screen expecting to see the usual, because Apple are great at this, a load of error messages, you know. But there isn't any error messages. There's one that says general message, click it. So when you click it, it takes you to display. But then you're swiping up and down the display and you're like, that's odd. So we've got a true depth camera fault. So I thought, right, second thing to check here. So I went back into battery health. Battery health's gone to 93% from 92. And it's not coming up the battery error message like it's a genuine battery or the phone thinks it is. The phone thinks, or I still wasn't 100% sure that it was a genuine screen. It might have been a screen replacement. However, it's got True Tone working now, but the True Depth camera that does your Face ID, nah, it ain't fixed that and it ain't any different. It's just saying error. So I'm like, so that took a good hour and a half, but luckily I was sitting with a lovely cup of Costa coffee. Anyway, so I went back out across the road and sitting there and I'm showing it and I'm saying, look, net. Still no Face ID, so looking at this. I says, but you're right. I says, my mistake. True Tone has appeared back on the phone. So that's the first time I've ever seen that in my life. Bear in mind, she was quite helpful, but you'll find this with anyone in CEX when you go in. They're not exactly, how can I put it? They're not as fast at being proactive as you would like to think. Let's put it this way. They're always a bit sceptical about anything that comes back. Ooh, maybe the customer's done it, is at the back of my mind, because that was the kind of feeling you got. So I was like, nah, this is ridiculous. So I says to her, right, you know, what are we going to do about this? She goes, oh, well, you've done that. We'll need to book it in for a warranty test. In the meantime, I says, well, what are the options? Can I get a refund? No, you can't get a refund. You can get an exchange or a voucher. But the voucher you can use in any other store online if you find one. Now, there's where you had to laugh, because if it was online, and we go through this scenario again, you could buy an iPhone 11 online, B grade, whatever it is. You could buy an A grade, but... well, in theory, you couldn't buy an A grade. B or a C grade. I'm saying I've never tasted it, but imagine you bought an A grade. It arrived, you switched it on, it was perfect. Switched it on, you went down, boom, checked the battery health, and it was like, I don't know, 87% or something. And they said it was an A grade. I mean, that's what I'm on about. It's like, how do they grade their phones? And when it's an iPhone and it's going to cost a couple of £100 to get a battery change, it is not something that you are willing to do, is it? You pay £240 for an iPhone, you want as close to 100% battery as you're going to get. Bearing in mind it's a used device, you know it's used. So anything in the 90s is good. We're not looking for 100%, but you know where I'm coming from here. It's hard fought money that you're buying. You take the phone back, you can't get a refund, you can get a voucher. how many hours was I going to need to spend? Bearing in mind I went through about 7 or 8 iPhone 11s before I found one with 92% health. You could say, well, Mike, you've already wrote off all those 10 down the bottom there, so start up the top. But the thing was, when you started up the top, you jumped up in price. So instead of paying £240, you were jumping up to like 280. I'm sorry, but I'm not prepared to go to 280 for a used phone, iPhone 11, that's, quite frankly, we're on to the iPhone 16 now, you know, 5 phones away. So, infuriating. So, you end up taking a different phone because you're thinking, right, there's no point in taking an iPhone here. I can see where this is going. This company takes in any iPhone in any condition and doesn't bother checking the... Well, no. What the guy said to me was, because when I said, look, surely you must check the battery health. No, we'll have a quick look at it, but if the phone charges and works normally and we leave it running with a video and it doesn't like drain instantly or cut off or switch off, then we just put it up for sale. Oh, but we've got a 5-year warranty on any phone if anything goes wrong. And I says, right, so bearing in mind, how has anyone out there tested CEX on this? Now, a battery's a consumable, it's a wearable part. What they're saying is with their 5-year warranty, oh yeah, if you've got any problems with the battery, you would send it back to us and then we would send it away and get a battery replaced in it. And I'm like, would you? I mean, has anyone tested this? I just thought, they're going to say, well, it's a battery, it's a consumable part. And at the amount of money that it costs to change a battery, you can see why they don't do it before, because then they could sell every phone with 100% new battery, you would have peace of mind. But they would have to charge you probably so that £240 iPhone would be £350. Who's going to pay that for a second-hand iPhone 11? Nobody. You can virtually put a couple of £100 on and get a like iPhone 14 or maybe even squeeze a 15, but unlikely, but close. So I'm like, this company's just, they're not going to get my business again. They're just not. I don't feel comfortable as a customer going to CEX anymore. You know that feeling you get? You just think they've not got your back. They're going to make this as hard as possible for you to take anything back. Or when they do, they won't give you your money back, which last time I checked in the consumer law and stuff, if you bought something and it was within 24 hours or 72 hours of returning, might be 48 hours, but I'm sure you were entitled to a full cash refund if you wanted. But they're like, no, that's not our policy. No. You can exchange it or you can get a voucher. The voucher, now what happens if you get a voucher and the company folds, goes under, and you've not spent your voucher? Or you can't spend it because it's folded. You've lost all your money. So why would you buy from CEX? I'm telling you now, unless you're 100% sure you've got a full problem-free item, which means you need to know what you're looking at. You need to test it, get them to show you it before. You'll have to take exceptional care anytime you're buying something from CEX. You just can't take for granted that just because it's on that shelf, they've done all their due diligence and it's 100%, and you just can't. No. Their get out of this is, we're selling used items. They're not refurbished and they're second hand. But my point to them is, okay, so if you return something and it ain't what you were selling it as, you should get a refund, or at least an option for a refund, so you can go somewhere else. Because you'll 9 times out of 10 save yourself money, because there'll be CEX are not cheap for their stuff if you look at other places that sell stuff. And like I say, would you take the risk? Would you take the risk? I mean, I've never experienced a retail outlet like this. Like, it's so frustratingly misleading. Yeah, that's a good word. That's a good word. They're the most frustratingly misleading company on the retail high street, I think. They're on par with Argos, if you've ever dealt with them as well. They'll do everything in their power to make it your fault. Yeah. The customer's always right. That slogan there ain't applicable. It ain't applicable. Anywho's, it's been a long ramble. We'll put this video in at some point on the channel. And take it from me. If you use them, do your due diligence. Not once, not twice. I'd advise 3 times. Thanks for watching. All the best out there, and stay strong. Because this can get you down, man. It can.